join you and you joining us for this youth conversation. We love to see women sharing the panel with discussing issues in the community. We are amazed to have Nabagereka Margaret, who is the newly elected women representative of Wakiso district. She has been a leader serving throughout her years. Then also we have Ritah. She's a deputy leader in Nansana. She's providing essential leadership, value, skills to uplift members in the same community. So the purpose of this conversation this morning, we wanted to really understand, to hear from these two great women, to share their experience, how they have been able to navigate spaces. Yesterday we were discussing here a topic on media, and I think this should be part of our conversation today. But before I go further, I will just also allow them to introduce themselves in just 1 minute, then we proceed with the conversation. I will start with Margaret.
Morning, everyone. Guys, are from breakfast. Morning, everyone. I'm Margaret Nabagereka. Currently I'm a female youth councillor in my district, but I'm awaiting to be sworn in as a woman councillor in my area. And I'm a founder of Soaring Community Empowerment Initiative, as well as Girls and Young Women in Climate Action. I'm a climate advocate, I'm a youth leader, I'm a student's mentor, and I'm a mother of one girl. Thank you.
Thank you, that's amazing. She's a leader in directly elected positions, she's a leader in civil society, she's a climate change advocate, and then she's a mother. I think this conversation, all of them on my right, on my left, they are all mothers. So we also want to hear that side of motherhood. Yeah. So Ritah, briefly tell us about who you are.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm absolutely elated having this opportunity to be part of this panel. I am Ritah. This is my name, and I live in Nansana. I am the deaf leader. I'm a mother of twins, and of course, I'm passionate about advocating for the persons with hearing impairment to have that good life. Thank you.
Thank you. That's amazing. Hey, we have mothers, so I think this could be one of the very unique conversations, and we are going to hear the experience of how to interpret motherhood into advocacy or community work. So Margaret, just a quick one. You've been a leader, and I've been a bit seeing you going through a lot of experience, especially with women leadership. How has it been like competing these spaces? It may not necessarily be, because yesterday we had a conversation here, and you see one of the panelists was saying that you find that the position is for national MPs, rather national, maybe female MPs in it, like national. You find that even men are more interested to take up such positions. And being that you are a women leader, how has it been like navigating these spaces, especially with the voters, but also in your party? So I understand you on National Unity Platform. How has it been like maneuvering through getting the party tickets, but also going to convince the electorates in the community? What is it like?
Thank you so much. First of all, what I want to put across is leadership. There are leaders who are born and leaders who are nurtured. So for me, I believe I'm a leader who was nurtured. I was not born a leader, but I was nurtured to be a leader, basically by my dad. From my primary level, my dad has always been encouraging me to take up leadership spaces. But of course, they can encourage you, but within you, there is something that we call fear. Fear is something that can make you move, all that can destroy you. So I had that fear, which I with time, I had to let go of that fear within me, so as I take up the leadership spaces. So that was my tender age. And my first position, of course, in leadership was head girl. But as I was giving the speech, I first collapsed. And I woke up when I'm the winner. I don't know how it happened. But maybe I was the shortest in the race. And the youngest, I don't know. But I said a few words and people voted for me. Then later on, I feared to go into leadership of I hear head girl in secondary level. But I was a leader in clubs, in clubs and religious clubs where there is no competition. So basically I would stand alone, or I would be chosen that Maggie take us up in this. Then when I went to campus, my results were not good in the first year, so I couldn't compete in the GRC positions because I had someone retake that I had to maneuver so as I compete. But as I went on, things became difficult for me, so I couldn't balance leadership and academics. But as I was in year 3, we went into COVID and national politics. Was that 2021? Yes, 2021. I went into youth leadership. And with youth leadership, of course, as I said on the first day, our politics is monetarized. Like you have to have money on certain positions to convince people. But I thank God that I didn't require to pay my voters in the youth race to vote me. Though I had to move in those 36 areas to convince people. That is transport. Then when you're moving with your assistants, you have to feed them, you have to transport them. So basically it remains a bit expensive. But I've always had a supportive family because my dad, I said from the start, he has nurtured me to be a leader, and that's what he wants in me. So income-wise, my parents would provide enough. As a woman councillor currently, I had to first bid for a national unity platform, bearer card, and it was not easy because, of course, I would have to say I've been a pregnant mother in politics, but that didn't make me lose my energy, because being pregnant doesn't mean that you're sick. Of course, you can be vulnerable because there is a lot that changes in you. You'll be tired, morning sickness, you have to do other chores, like a lot of things. But of course, that can't make your candle to burn out because you have to have a vision. When you have a vision, it's always hard for things to put you down. So when I went into that race, we went into, how is that called?
Primaries?
Yeah, primaries. So we were asked a lot of questions. How have you helped your community? Why do you want to be a leader as a woman? How best will you lobby for the community? And I have to tell you that during my youth journey, I wasn't the best leader. Actually, I entered leadership when I didn't have any leadership skill on a national level. But throughout, I've always been fighting hard to improve myself. And through that, I've had a lot of programs. There are very many. And in that programs is where I met even Julius. The program I met Julius was not even paid. We had just gone to learn, eat some small samosas, come back home. So through that journey, I've met a lot of people, I've enlarged my network. I've had people who even call you, like, to help you where they have seen a gap in you. And yeah, I've really had a lot of programs. So those programs have nurtured me to know which kind of leader I want to be, which kind of leadership I want to use to serve my community members. And in that is where I realized that with the qualification I have, basic academic qualification, I can serve my community through advocating for climate justice. And with that climate justice, I've had a lot of people who have come up to support me because I shown interest. So they came up to support me to push my dream forward. And in that, they provided me a network, they have provided me resources, they have taught me how to lobby for more resources. And with that, I've also taught my fellow peers on how to work together, teamwork. That's how we came up with these CBOs. And that's one of the why I was able to win my primaries, because I had things to put on table and my opponent had none. Then on the how I came up to win my elections. Of course, elections of this time had been very hard, as I said in the start. I know my colleague will not be happy about it.
Well, Maggie, I think with that's why I'm going to start with you. There's a critical question I want to ask you on that. After primary, then, yeah, that's where we are coming. Ritah, how has it been like navigating spaces of leadership, especially in Nansan and Wakiso district, a district highly populated, a district with majority of people being young? How have you been able to navigate such spaces?
Thank you so much, moderator. My leadership journey in Nansan. I remember I have been a leader, and leadership has been very challenging. Of course, I've gone through a lot. And of course, it was my first time to be leading in that position. And I had a lot of fears before taking up the position that if I become the leader I intend to be, I would fail. So I had that fog inside me. Because I'll be like thinking about what people perceive of me. A person with impairment. And probably they will be perceiving me as incapable leader, incapable person. So I was already seeing that. And that didn't really put me off completely. But people have that perception that I might not be the favorite, because what do I have in me? But inside, deep down in me, I had the zeal, I had that full confidence that I can. I had that esteem. And at the time of taking up that leadership position, I had already that network. Full support was coming my way. My supporters were willing to push me further. And through that leadership position I hold, I haven't been sitting down. I have been an impact-causing leader, advocating, causing all the necessary change that I expect to happen. As I talk now, I ensure that I need people around me. And I make sure that I work with people around me, especially in the hearing, to ensure that the environment is a comfortable place for everyone. Because through this position I hold, we are vulnerable. And this only comes to change the environment if we work together. So that's what I can say about it.
Well, thank you, Rita. Just here, I'm just contemplating a lot of things, but one of the key factors that cuts across among the two leaders is that they have been having support, whether by the community, family, or the network they develop. That's really too amazing, and I think to leaders here that are aspiring to really take up leadership position. Firstly, I think Margaret pointed out something on family support. That's one of the key things we should start, cultivating to make sure that we have that support. Then also, I think Rita mentioned something on how at first she was naive. How could I even, start taking such, because it was her first time. But again, she re-energized and got that zeal and resilience. That is really amazing. And the purpose of this is now for us, we want to learn from you. That's why this experience is really too crucial. Margaret, as a leader, just a quick one in 2 minutes. Try to give a picture of how you managed to go through the 2026 election. Election was marked by violence, being that in Wakiso was a hotspot of violence. So being that you were a mother, that takes you more in another position, sensitive position for you to maneuver through. Especially a touch on the factor of you organizing. How did you organize locally? Just sound locally. How did you organize? It could say you had agents, you had how was your structure, campaign structure looked like in like 2 minutes?
Thank you so much. As I talked earlier, is you can't do everything alone. You have to have a network of people, and people who are willing. You can't force someone to help you, or you can't force someone to move with you when they're not willing. So, first of all, I had to build a network of people that have to help me on my date of election. And with that, during my campaigning time, as I was moving around the community, and actually for me, I did campaign in this form over here, giving sugar, here coming to mop your houses. I was like, I'm above that. So what I did is to lobby for the community. I lobbied skills training, 3 programs, whereby over 100 women were skilled. So that was already a tick. And of course my opponent was giving out sugar, salt, and for me, remember, I was nurturing someone in my stomach. Every day that goes, I had to form a heart, a liver, a kidney. So there is no way I would use my money into the community to make people happy. Yet I have someone to bring onto this earth that has to make me more happy even. So those groups helped me so much in that people I trained, they went on to campaign for me further. And from those people, it is where I got a team of agents that worked for me on that day of elections. And that day of election, the agents I had, these are the people in that even when you delay to bring food at the field, water, they be like, Maggie, we want you to first win. So it was me who was forcing them to eat food even. Like, you guys, you should eat food. What? Someone, if someone would see another person trying to read my vote, they would run and be like, why are you touching my these votes? Why are you reading our votes? Something like that. So I built a team that truly loved me, not because I gave them money, but because I made them my friends. And it is very dangerous to build a team of agents that bases on money, because those people they can easily be bought by your opponent. You will give your agent 20,000 and your opponent will give them 50,000. Tell me how that agent would not sell your declaration form, because a declaration form is something that shows that these are the people who voted you. This is like evidence that these are the number of people who voted the female, the male, on this day, something like that, that you have to offer to electoral commission in case your votes have been rigged. So that's how basically I managed to work with my team. Then, another thing, these elections had a lot of rigging. Actually, it was not an election, it was a selection. And I would not say that I was selected because I worked for it. Why? It is very important during my leadership journey. You know, I have a disease of being empathetic. Like, I would see someone suffering, I would see someone in need, and I would feel like I'm in their shoes. And